Hi guys, welcome back. Hope you're doing all good today. So I do have another battle for you, and I'm going to be in command of the mighty Dowie up against Lotus Moon, who's going under the guise of No Name, who's going to be in charge of the High Elves. Now before we do get started, for those who don't know, Lotus Moon is a very top tier competitive player, quite well known in the community, but he does in fact have a Twitch account, in which this battle was streamed over with many others as well. So I highly recommend going to check him out. Very top elf player as well, if you want to get, improve your game. I think he mainly plays Elves, but he does also play the other factions as well, so I'll link him down below in the description. Now, I've gone for a very similar army than you may have seen on this channel before. After this battle, in fact, I did try switching this army up a little bit, as I feel like I've gotten a little bit of a rut of almost always picking the same dwarf army, but let's see how it plays in this battle. So in the front line, we do have a unit of Longbeards, very sturdy and strong overall, and a unit of Ironbreakers. These guys are super tanky with their 125 armor, and they just survive for so long, even against armor-piercing troops. Now in the back, I do have, on the flanks in fact, I have 2 units of Hammers. These guys are great, just huge damage dealers with their big old hammers here. They're pretty durable, considering they don't have shields, and they still have 100 armor, and they do decent work, up against Sword Masters and White Lions, even though they take a lot of damage back in return. Now in the back, we do have a unit of Slayers and a unit of Giant Slayers, just in case, an opponent brings a lot of kind of cav and tries to get on top of these cannons. So we do have 2 of the cannons, in fact, and they're going to be firing in, trying to pick their targets nice and early. We have 2 runesmiths here, and one thing I wanted to talk about, I've gone for all the normal kind of runes, but I've been watching a lot of Tazoo Devil's YouTube channel, which I'll also link down below. He's a guy who does some really fantastic content on his channel. He mainly focuses around the Dwarfs, and he's a super nice dude as well. We actually played him a couple of replays ago on this channel. And one thing he used against me, which I didn't really know about before, it was this item here, the Hammer of Karak Drazar. I'm going to say Drazar, let's roll with it. It's probably mispronounced, but we'll find out. Which is minus 25% weapon damage and minus 44 melee attack. So if someone comes in, say, I don't know, like Tyrion over here, tries to pop up on top of Thorgrim and take him down really quickly, you just pop that spell on them and they really start to struggle. And it makes someone like Thorgrim even more tanky than he already is. So we do have the High King himself looking in the Book of Grudges here, stroking his glorious beard, and he has brought all his buffs with him as well, including the Oath of Vengeance. So let's go have a little look at Lotus's army in the distance. So for the most part, he has gone for a lot of White Lions, mixed in with a few units of Swordmasters, so we are trying to focus down already with these cannons. So let's say he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 White Lion units, including the Pure Main Company, I believe, who give a nice Guardian aura, much like the Star Chamber Guardians for Temple Guards, so they'll be given Tyrion an extra physical resist. He's also gone for 2 units of Swordmasters. For, White Lions are very good in this match, okay? Armor piercing, super good at taking down Dwarfs, but they will struggle when they come up against units like Hammers who can do so much damage back. So it's nice to have a couple of units of Swordmasters in there as well, who just that little bit more elite at taking down those elite Dwarf units. He's also gone for 3 units of Archers who are going to be very good at taking out the cannon crews. However, Dwarfs are very heavily armoured as a faction overall, and these guys don't have the best AP, so their main focus is probably going to be trying to take down the Slayers and the cannons. Now for his magic, he does have 2 Lawmasters, so he's got one on the right flank here, who does have Harmonic Convergence for a little bit of buffing, and on the left who looks like he has a heal in Earthblood, so they're going to be very good overall. These guys are pretty good melee combatants as well, they're armour piercing, they're basically a lot like the Swordmaster unit over here. So they're going to be pretty decent up against Dwarfs, probably be able to go toe-to-toe with most of my characters. And leading the mighty host today is Tyrion, on foot, which is surprising, you don't often see him on foot, but I suppose it makes him a smaller target for all the range abilities we may have, and also Slayers aren't going to be so good against him. And he does in fact have all his buffs, Sunfang, the Faint One, all of this kind of good stuff, and the Heart of Avalon, which I've spoken about before in previous videos where I've played the High Elves myself. It is a super good ability where when he gets below 20% health, he just gets this massive burst of health and brings him almost back to full health. So let's get this battle underway fully. So we're going to be firing in with the cannons here, trying to target out the Swordmasters in particular. Everything in this army is a bit of a threat, but we really want to try and get as much value as possible and get these guys down. He was trying to juke me originally on the side, but the cannon shot ends up hitting some White Lines anyway, so at least we're getting some value here. And we're forcing him forward. So I did realise, I looked at the minimap and realised I was a little bit in the corner here, not deliberately. But so I moved my army forward just a little bit, just to ensure it's all nice and fair and it's possible for him to get around the flanks. And yeah, cannons going in, doing a decent amount of damage actually. doing a little bit of damage to the archers here, going through and smacking these sword masters. We've already got down quite a nice little bit of health there. Down to 62 models on this unit, and where is the side unit? This one's taking even more damage actually, and looks down to 61. So it's going pretty good so far, getting some great value from this, mighty Dowie artillery. I believe these cannons are in fact slightly more accurate than the Empire ones, which makes sense, thematically and lore-wise. So we're going to be pushing up the Ironbreakers here. We're trying to get a few satchel charges on top of these archers. Satchel charges are great against lightly armoured infantry. So we're trying to push forward, but I believe he does in fact see this and pull back. And instead we get this very nasty engagement up against this Lore Master we don't really fancy. So on the right hand side here, some great cannon fire still coming in, down to 50 models. We also popped a rune of Wrath and Rune on them, slowing them down from this main fire of the Ironbreakers. I believe we're doing similarly well on the left hand flank. The cannon again getting this great crossfire down the ranks now, doing some huge damage. They're down to 51, I believe. Oh, another great shot coming through there, down to 44 models there, and a rune of Wrath and Rune from there. So Tyrion has come charging in as expected to try and pop onto Thorgrim, but he's going to be popping all his little buffs from the Runesmith, and we are going to pop down the hammer there of the Karak and make this melee attack down by 44 and 25% weapon damage. He can be a bit of a wet noodle now, trying to take down Thorgrim, and Thorgrim's just going to be slapping him around. He does decide to drop a Sunfang down here, but these are Dwarfs. There's a decent amount of damage, but nothing too scary. It looks like we are pushing out the slaves on either flank. Giant slaves are going to deal fairly comfortably with the white lines here, and these slaves are going to charge in trying to finish off these sword masters. Now of course these aren't the best matchups for the slave, however they still do a decent job, and there's no cav or large types on top on. Fortunately though, some great play by our opponent here. Those archers managing to scare off both units of cannons, in fact making some of the cannons explode by the looks of it, just from that constant fire, so very good play there. Now the battle's kind of divulged into these 4 mini fights here. So on the slaves on either flank, who look like they're going to win their engagement fairly comfortably, and these 2 big blobs. So on the right hand side here with the Ironbreakers holding very valiantly, assisted by these hammers who looks like they've got in there and almost managed to finish off these sword masters already. They're not going too bad here, and they will struggle in the long fight against these white lines plus pure main company, especially with the Lore Master hanging around. And on the left hand side we do have a nasty rear charge coming from these white lines who have managed to get round the back. But we are we're standing pretty strong here. We do have the Longbeards, the Hammers, the High King himself. It looks like he's beating down Tyrion fairly comfortably there, the buffs and debuffs coming down. And the Runesmith just holding it all together. On the back, I realised I really need to shut down these archers. I really kind of underestimated the amount of damage output they could do. So we have managed to catch one unit with the Runesmith, who's just going to be slowly beating those guys down. And we do manage to scare off those white lines on the right flank, trying to be a bit sneaky and charge the giant slaves into these archers. But they are spotted, and as we can see, they're just going to be getting absolutely blitzed here with this Overwatch from these archers. And they may make it, they are unbreakable. If we can get a few models in, they can actually do some serious damage. It's looking a little bit unlikely. The power balance is fairly even still. It looks like Tyrion has run over from this main fight, tried to escape and help finish off these slaves, but the High King's having none of it. He's chasing him down. All these grudges will be settled against these pointy ears. But it looks like once again Tyrion uses extra mobility just to fall back a little bit. I really probably should have gone after the Sword Master. I've just realised actually how low he is, down to 93 health. Instead he's probably going to fall back and heal up slightly. But the Runesmith, he overextended a little bit too far, getting into his archers and shutting them down. So it looks like he's being hunted down now. So we're going to try and reunite our forces on the left flank. On the right flank, these archers can see how they've managed to turn the tide here. These hammers were doing very good, were very healthy, but with the added fire coming in from these archers over here, they are starting to struggle. They do a decent job against the pure main company, but this right flank is looking a little bit bleak now, where it was looking much better. However, the Ironbreakers still holding strong as usual. It looks like this centre pocket, we've kind of formed a little bit of a death ball, and it's going rather well. Unfortunately, you can see the Half Avalon did pop up on Tyrion here. We got him so low, so close to breaking him and killing him. But that big health buff, he's at his healing cap now, he's back up to 1,600 health. But, we've still got him a little bit surrounded here. He's in a very dangerous position. Got the nasty Oath of Vengeance down, and his cameras are going to work. You see his health is looking quite quickly. And the Sword Masters, or Lore Masters, sorry, are going to be running over to the main fight to try and rescue and assist him. And it looks like the archers are starting to run fairly low on ammo. So they've done really good. I was very surprised actually at how much damage they managed to do. I really should have tried to focus these guys down a little bit more, but it's not game over yet. In fact, the power balance is slightly in our favour right now, but it looks like these hammers have broken. We need them really to turn around and try and rally back to the king. It looks like the Ironbreakers have managed to endure as much as possible. And they're just going to be finishing off these white lines and trying to help out in this main fight. Pure Main Company are now looking, fairly healthy for late game of those 40 models, but overall, both sides are looking pretty knackered as far as it goes. It looks like we have managed to shatter off one Swordmaster there, which is super nice for us. The other one is down to just 55 health, and Tyrion himself is down to 816. We are going to be in here just trying to slap him down, but he is surrounded by his little homies here, his Pure Main Company. I believe are the guards of the Phoenix King, actually, not the Phoenix Guard, which a bit strange, that kind of idea in lore, but it knows what it is. So it looks like the Swordmasters have actually rallied. I thought they were shattered. Oh no, it's this unit over here which has been shattered. And we did try and drop down another hammer onto Tyrion here, but once again he uses added mobility just pull out of the combat. There's no need to be in there whilst this is on him. He'll wait till the effects wear off and then come charging back in. The distance, we do have a couple of rallying units. They're probably just going to be ended up engaging these other units for the High Elves, which also managed to rally as well. They're not going to be doing too much, but disaster here with one of the runesmiths who has started to run, and he's just getting chased down by these archers, which is going to stop him from returning to the fray. Very frustrating and unfortunate on that side. Very good play against Lotus, actually, managing to break him off. Now the Ironbreakers, they are starting to open. They've done very good. I mean, they're all the way down to just 20 models, and they've been holding this entire time against ridiculous odds. Tyrion's just popping in, just teasing out Thorgrim, trying to run in, force him to disengage in the main combat and just take all his extra hits. And then as soon as I leave him alone, he will turn around and come back into the fray again, poke him in, the back basically, taking away some of that melee defense. We're trying to hold the line here. We do still just have Thorgrim with these Ironbreakers, but the runesmiths are rallying in the distance, and they're going to be running back in, popping his buffs here just in case they try and shoot him down. He's going to be jumping in, trying to shut down these archers. Unfortunately, however, it does look like the Thorgrim, the High King there, did break at the very end there. I can't blame him, completely surrounded by this many elves. Very close game there. So close to taking down Tyrion so many times, but couldn't quite do it. So let's go to the end stats there. So very well played to Lotus there. Really interesting build. I mean, obviously Swordmasters and the White Lions did a great job, but I was so surprised at how well these archers did. And they really helped to take out these cannons. I mean, the cannons got great value anyways. You can see 54 and 56. Most of those kills coming off on Swordmasters and White Lions. So very decent over there, but they did get shut down by these archers very effectively. Overall, I really liked my army. Actually, it formed pretty damn well. I mean, the two blobs that the main fight actually kind of formed into, I managed to win the one on the left side, lose the one on the right hand side, but it wasn't quite enough. These Ironbreakers really held for long periods of time, and the Hammerage, 100 kills here and 45 here against quite elite high elf infantry, did very good, but unfortunately we couldn't quite kill Tyrion. I'm not sure if his Heart of Avalon is a 50% chance of going off, or if it always goes off. I think it's the Phoenix which has the 50% chance, because we almost managed to take him out multiple times, and if we'd managed to break down these heroes, who have got all very low health towards the end, we may have been able to endure. But unfortunately, not quite. Very well played to Lotus Moon, however, hope to meet you again on ladder sometime soon. So we do have a tournament coming up, guys, on Wednesday the 10th, which is very exciting. The second Death Before Dishonor. It's one of the biggest videos on the channel so far. And we have got all our competitors in place, which is very exciting. So they'll all be announced shortly. It's going to be 8 PM British Summer Time. And yeah, hope to see you guys there. It's going to be a live stream, but great to have a few of you about. And cheers for all the support on the channel so far. We have now got to 50 subscribers, which is very cool. So next target, just going to be aiming for that 100. So peace, guys. Stay awesome.